the Wololo Ho 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 DM deathmatch tourney. We are now live with Sagittarius, aka Ph0s, and Vertex in their what is this, Jen? Semifinal? It's not semifinal. It's like quarterfinal. It's Egyptian versus Egyptian. Vertex starting out with 3 TCs. Ph0s starting out with 3 as well. Moving forward to put down his first stable. Ph0s is a really fast and furious DM guy. Vertex knows how to play DM. He's very tricky. This will be an interesting matchup. Brains versus brawn, I would say, although that's not to take anything away from Ph0s. He's a smart guy as well. Let me kill the music here so that we can have full game audio. And let me know how the audio levels are, guys. We have 5 CCs for Ph0s, and wow, all kinds of stuff going down for Vertex. Kind of abandoned his 4th TC. Checking Vil count, we have a slight advantage for Ph0s so far. And Ph0s producing an elephant. I wonder if that was a misclick. Let's try getting our Qs up and running here. Yeah, almost certainly a misclick. Ph0s, some towers down. You counter Vertex Scythe, which are coming in now. A lot of green on the map. Vertex pretty much spread all over, looking for Ph0s's eco perhaps. Although all these players know how to house scans, so not really sure. Yeah, he seems to be searching though. That's interesting. Action is right here in the middle of the map though. Ph0s sending some scythe down south. Not really sure what those are for. Elephants though for Vertex. Looks like it's going to be towers and elephants to stymie Ph0s's push, and towers are really critical with Egyptian. It's a good way to slow the pace of the game down and just try to figure out your next move. Eggy versus Eggy is just long game sometimes. Long game. Ph0s building some more military off to the right. Interesting. Stone Thrower is going to enter the mix, probably, since he sees the LE coming from Vertex. Vertex making some inroads into Ph0s's eco. Scythe are battering down stables that Ph0s popped up just outside of his eco.
Hello, motherfucker!
What's going on here? Most of them are Ph0s. Going to be some trouble for Vertex's LEs. Tower versus Archer LE is not a good combination. Vertex Looks like he will clean up this mess. So much green on the map, though, guys. Just a huge map advantage for Ph0s. Let's see if he's creating any disturbances at home for Vertex. And he is. They're 2 Scythe and Vertex's eco right now. That's going to be problematic because Scythe have that trample damage and take down a lot of villagers in a very short amount of time. Again, though, man, just Ph0s everywhere. Builds out so quick. A lot of conflict still happening here outside of Ph0s's eco, but he seems to have this well in control. Now it just remains. Oh wow, Vertex's Scythe found all of Ph0s's stone throws. Probably coming forward to counter Vertex's Ellie's, but they will not. They will not. Looks like Ellie Archers are going to save the day. So got a lot of stone throwers coming over here. Ph0s just segmenting the map very nicely. Now while I pull up my chat history so I can see what you guys are saying. Let's look at resources. 8 on food for Ph0s, 152 pop, 169 pop for that was Vertex, guys, sorry. 152 to 162, the population of very even here. Vil count, 92 to 88, so Vertex slightly ahead now. Lots of wood, very little food. Plenty of room to put down farms. Ellie's in Ph0s's economy now. Scythe coming forward, taking down villagers. Vertex is in. Vertex is in, and a lot of villagers are exposed right now. Let's see how many he gets. His towers will clean up these Scythe eventually. This is pretty damaging. What's this doing to the timeline? Little bit of evening out going on now. Ph0s, wow, really threatening Vertex's military buildings. Does he have any anywhere else? Not really. Vertex seems to be recognizing this and putting down military buildings outside of this area, which is pretty much now. Wow, it's heavily contested. Heavily contested. These stone throwers will be some trouble. Haven't seen any priests here. That's interesting. GG! Voice is low, huh? Alright, let's see if we can fix that. that any better? Let me know.
Run.
Also, alright, turn the game volume down, turn the mic volume up. Let me know how that sounds. Louder would be better for your voice flow, and cool to stop that with here. Ha ha ha. Yeah, well, good luck getting cool to stop with the sound.
Hello, motherfucker.
Hello, motherfucker. Alright, we've got a lot of blue disappearing now. These stone throwers have cleaned up the Ellies. And it's Ph0s marching forward toward Vertex's eco, and Vert doesn't really have a lot of room to plant towers or anything else. Give me a scope in the chat, please. How's my voice level, guys? That's what I'm looking for. Vertex with 15 on stone. It's gonna need it. Let's figure out some way to repel this force of stone throwers and Ellies. You don't often see stone throwers in Eggy versus Eggy, but they can be useful. The map is shrinking now for Vertex. He's safe over here. This is the main issue right now. Vertex putting down more towers, still just a few bills on stone, 12 on stone. Let's check resources for Ph0s. Man, he is straining himself. 144 pop to 207. Vertex is much bigger. Is this Ph0s's last stand? Well, guys, this could be it. Ph0s really needs to do something with his eco. A lot of farms now. Ph0s with 31 on food, 4 on gold. Vertex with 56 on food, 16 on gold. 208 pop now and climbing. 161 to 206 is what we have. These towers are doing their work. There's still enough stone throwers to batter them down eventually. It's kind of nice that this is the only conflict happening on the map. Ph0s's eco is relatively safe. Vertex's eco under threat, but this is where all the action is right now. So Vertex has decided to kick out a few stone throwers of his own, but they'll have trouble navigating through all this forest chop and these towers. Ph0s now electing to retreat, discovering that he's just not going to be able to push through, and moving around the other direction. Vertex pumping out scythe now to counter. Should be able to protect this wing, which is really critical, because if Ph0s got in here, it'd likely be over. But for right now, this area is safe. Little lull in the action now as Scythe just run around and Ph0s repositions his Ellie archers. He is trying to go around the other way, but these towers on the hill will create some challenges to doing that. Let's look at pop now again. Vertex at 241, Ph0s at 171. Bill count 206, 206 bills. Oh my gosh. 14 idols, so still more active. And at this rate, Vertex can just keep cranking out army, and it'll be up to him to manage it properly. Ph0s trying to raid this hill. Stone throwers forward, Ellie archers backing. Vertex scythe. Wow, stone thrower's still up. Vertex now trying to move out with some armored Ellies as Ph0s brings scythe forward to counter. Ellie archers backed by towers are pretty good. Ellie archers moving up the hill now. Moving up. Towers are really the only thing Vertex has here, stopping Ph0s from moving forward into his eco. But I think he's going to have it. Stone throwers moving now onto the hill. Should take that Ellie horde down. Let's see what's happening here again. Scythe will take down Stone Thrower. Ellie archers backed by towers. That's the story. I just don't think that Ph0s has enough pump here, enough scythe volume to really do the damage that he needs to do. Let's look at timeline. Timeline has been just gradually shrinking for Ph0s over time. That's what I mean about Vertex being tricky. And he walled himself off very effectively. He thinks fast, he can click fast, and he's presenting a big challenge for one of the best DM players that we have in our community. Vertex now moving forward under cover of towers. A lot of Ellie archers in the queue, and Scythe and Stone Thrower. He's going to try to take down this horde of towers, which is really all Ph0s has protecting his eco right now. But Vertex electing to move back, just not ready for that push. He's going to take his time. Meanwhile, Stone Throwers and Ellie archers are battering uphill against Vertex towers. Vertex just really needs to hold this ground. That's going to be close. Going to be real close. Vertex now moving military out to this center ground. Lots of stone throwers in the mix. Some scythe, some LA archer. Ph0s moving forward to counter those LA archers. He probably sees them with his towers, but he's going to run into some towers. Oh, he's going to run Vertex's eco. And man, that's a lot of bills going down right now. What's that doing to the timeline? Yep, shifting back in Ph0s's favor now. As Scythe make it all the way into Vertex's eco, he has to run his bills now. Scythe are in there, and they can do pretty much whatever they want. There's not enough towers around here to take them all down. Wow. Okay. Meanwhile, Ph0s moving uphill against Vertex. He's distracted over at 3 o'clock. Still not quite ready to charge in, and most of the stone throwers are gone. So it's going to be towers versus Ellie's again. Just don't like that that matchup. Vertex seems to have controlled his wing at about 2 o'clock. Scythe still creating a problem. Vertex with only 31 on farms. He had to run a lot of his eco, and he is starving for food now. Still moving Ellie's forward, but seeing that they're being taken down by Ph0s's defensive towers. This horde of Ellie's over here at 12 seem to be effectively repelled. They're going to try to move around right up there at the corner, but they're going to find that that's guarded by towers. So Vertex has this side of the map pretty well walled. Scythe's now coming in to clean up this raid. Still more villagers at risk, though. Let's look at the timeline again, guys. Timeline, a little bump, but Vertex seems to have evened it out. Enough Scythe to clean up this raid, and is he getting back on farms? Yeah, he's back up to 44 on farms now. Lots of villagers going down. Stone thrower shots now, braining those bills. Vertex forced to run. And I think the story now will be, does Ph0s have Vertex effectively pinned enough to starve him out of resources? There's a lot of gold still on the map, so I don't know. It seems like Vertex can live for days here. That's the theme with Eggy versus Eggy. It's just days and days and days of conflict. These games go so long. Vertex now with a mass on the hill. Bills forward. Wow, forward granary on berries. That's interesting. Stone throwers challenging Ellie's though, but they do have the hill. Vertex bringing his own stone throwers forward, and I think he will have claimed this area. And if he had some stone, that'd really be great for him. But no such luck. Maybe he'll try to claim this stone pit. Yeah, it looks like that's what he wants. That's what he wants. The rainbow now. We have stone throwers, Ellie's, and Scythe all forward. Soon enough, Vertex will have enough stone to start planting some towers. He's claiming the map, guys. Doesn't so much need this side of the map anymore. Ph0s, recognizing that probably, is now moving toward the middle of the map. This is the conflict zone now. He really can't lose this. Vertex into Ph0s's eco, taking down buildings for now. Ph0s running a large portion of his bill eco down to 6 o'clock, but these bills, man, these bills just got splattered. He needs a wood pit. Is he that much out of wood? Yeah, he just didn't have the wood there for a second to put down the pit. Tower's still creating problems for Vertex. He's having to move around that massive towers. We'll just we'll let it sit there. Massing Scythe at home. Some more Ellie's coming out. Let's look at the timeline again. Man, just back and forth. Back and forth. Let's look at kills. 41 to 47. So close. Top numbers, 235 for Vertex, 15 idols. 167 for Ph0s with 7 idols. Oh, and wow. What just happened there? Okay, Ph0s resigned. Saw the writing on the wall. That was a great game. Great opener, guys. Wow. Alright, let's look again at the count. 206 to 160. What happened here? I mean, he was gradually losing the population war, but it wasn't quite over yet. Just had a lot of challenges to deal with. 45 kills for Vertex, 493 for Ph0s. Man. Positive 12 and negative 12 KDA. This guy is free to get out. We need to ban him. Alright. So, let's update the score. How's the voice level now, guys? How's that going? Vertex with the win in game 1. Impressive. Okay, what I want to do is pull up the bracket so I can tell.
Yes.
Okay, wow, they're ready to go again. No waiting here. No waiting. What? Okay. Yeah, it'd be helpful if we close the slots. This is round 2, and I think that's a best of 5, right? I think. Oh, let's get rid of our music window. Jen, can you tell us if this is a best of 5? You may have already, I just missed it, because I was so focused on action. Alright, we did load. Do we have both players? We have both players. We have a game. Palmy versus Palmy. 7 o'clock and 3 o'clock are the positions. And, alright, Vertex throwing down 3 TC. He will open with an archery range. Ph0sphorus, let's see what he does. 4 TC investment and an archery range. So pretty much, well, it is mirror civ, but it looks like mirror strategy as well. Vertex building archery ranges close to home. Let's see. So Ph0sphorus with a 2 vil advantage, a little more significant for Palmy. Just seems to be able to get those TCs down and start pumping out vils faster than the competition uniformly. Albertoa subscribed with Prime. Thanks, bud. Alright, we have Force Archers coming forward for Vertex. We have Force Archers pestering the Ph0sphorus vils, which are trying to lay down stables now. So it'll be an Ellie Archer game eventually is what it will turn into. We see some heavy cats coming out for Vertex, and he has a few stables down as well. You see Sight? Oh, that's an interesting play. It's going to be Sight. Wow, that's ballsy, because if the enemy's making heavy or armored elephants, those Scythe are not really that useful. And Palmy have great towers, so plenty of defense against Sight. The battle is now focused on the center map. Ph0sphorus with Ellies and towers coming in against Vertex's heavy horse archer and heavy cats, which hopefully he's waypointing away from the action because they're just going to be taken out immediately. Ph0sphorus is claiming a lot of ground and seems to be approaching this game with great purpose. And once again, like with Eggy, we see the rainbow. Scythe, heavy horse archer, armored Ellie, tower. Boy, what a battle, guys. Interestingly enough, we have siege workshops mirroring siege workshops. Ph0sphorus just laying down the infrastructure a lot faster. But Vertex not that far behind. Timeline says otherwise. That's interesting. Armored Ellies coming forward to battle against Vertex Heavy Horse Archer. And we have some Ballista coming out. Ballista may be anticipating a armored Ellie counter from Vertex, so they are ready for that. And both players seem to be holding their own right now. Heavy Horse Archer and Heavy Cat are a pretty effective combination against armored Ellie with the mix and the distance right. At this point, Ph0sphorus seems content to mass up his army, waiting for the opportunity and just deciding which way to go. He has a hill here, a really great hill, so he can buy a lot of time, and that's really good for him. Ph0sphorus with some army heading into Vertex's base. Nope, Vertex has effectively repelled that, and look at this tower line. It's going to be really hard to push through. Palmy stalemates are fun though, because sometimes you get priest mixed in there, and then you have to go back to site to raid ecos and try to shut the other guy down. Look at how masterfully they have segmented off the map though. Heavy Cats and armored Ellies versus towers and Vertex's armored Ellies. Ph0sphorus now pushing forward over toward 10 o'clock with his armored Ellie mask. No, let him go down this choke point. That's interesting. It seems very purposeful too. I guess he feels he can take this down using Heavy Cats and armored Ellies. Ph0sphorus holding his Ballista back, but now moving forward. Wow, interesting. Ph0sphorus making inroads against Vertex's military buildings and threatening his eco just a little bit. Vertex now pushing forward from his 8 o'clock position, threatening to take down all of these siege workshops of Ph0s. So this massive army here needs to get some value because there are no more buildings to pump from if Vertex succeeds in this. But that hill, guys, that hill, all of these armored allies are going down now. Vertex does need some heavy cat support, because this is a lot of heavy cats from Ph0s. He just doesn't believe in moderation. This game seems to be going pretty quickly in Ph0s's direction. This push from Vertex got shut down a little bit, and instead of being able to close down all of these buildings, he's having to commit his army toward repelling Ph0s's mass of ballista and heavy cat. Some scythe coming in now to bother Vertex's catapults, and that's gonna hurt quite a bit. Vertex needs a few more towers in there to get him, but he's actually running short on stone as well. It's getting kind of tight for Vertex. Close quarters to operate in. Preserving all of his bills, though, pretty nicely. 151 to 123. So, speaking of not believing in moderation, Vertex is a lot of bills, same as last game. Which means one thing, guys. A lot of bills to kill, also a lot of bills to be doing decent work. Vertex, he's using them all. So they're picking up a lot of resources. A lot of bills on wood right now, not many on gold. He kind of needs that. Big mass of heavy cats. Big mass of heavy cats for Ph0s, claiming that center hill, which is so critical. He can buy a lot of time here. This push of his is failed, so he's now moving over toward Vertex's 10 o'clock position, just to see if he can get in. Towers repelling scythe. There seemed to be enough scythe coming out for Vertex to handle this, but no. Ph0s, just like last game, has once again managed to get several scythe into Vertex's eco, and this will create enough of a disturbance, hopefully, to give him the time he needs to decide what direction he wants to go. Uh-oh. Heavy cat's now exposed to Vertex's scythe. It should be okay, but having to move back and having lost this hill is open to claim. Such precious ground in this conflict. Ph0s trying to lay down some forward towers, but those bills are being rebuffed. Will Vertex see this in time? The bill's going down for that tower. Vertex now moving bills back to the eco they got chased from. He has reclaimed this ground, and I think he should be able to hold it. What do we have in queue here for Vertex? We have a lot of scythe and heavy cats. For Ph0s, purely scythe. I think he's elected to give up on the heavy cats. Vertex wise to that strategy. I don't think he's going to be able to do the damage that he thought. Has reclaimed the hill though. Heavy cats and scythe now trying to move on Vertex's towers and create an inroad, but no. Ph0s doesn't feel safe yet to move forward with those heavy catapults. Vertex now pushing forward toward the hill. Enough scythe and enough heavy cats from Vertex, possibly here to win this conflict, but no. Ph0s moving forward. Oh, wow, what a catapult shot. Yeah. Vertex now pushing forward again. This is going to be a deciding conflict, it seems. Vertex seeing the threat from the scythe will be able to take them all down. That's the one thing about Palmy's scythe is they're still scythe, but they are missing some vital upgrades. They're just not as strong as some others is. Heavy cat shots now. Heavy catapults dancing, trying to find that perfect middle ground. Ph0s pumping again purely scythe. Vertex finding some success with the scythe and heavy catapult combination, is pumping out both. Scythe now moving into Vertex's military buildings, close to 8 o'clock. Not really much to do there though. A lot of them are going to go down. We'll have to watch this. Will he get into Vertex's eco from this side? Not really sure, but he will probably take those farmers down. Vertex has 51 on farms, so he can afford it. Let's look at timeline here. Ph0s is battling back. It looks like he does have the advantage, 151 to 155 bills. So Ph0s with an equal amount of Palmy bills, working 25% faster. That's a big number of bills. Ph0s has, with his scythe, shut down this farming eco at 9 o'clock for Vertex. But again, I think he can afford it. 48 Palmy bills on food is quite enough. And we have just, again, this recurring battle, back and forth, mid-map, battling for that hill. One of them could get towers on that hill for the map, but there's just too much volatility. Nobody seems to be able to win that ground. Ph0s once again opting for a raid. Maybe he feels he needs it. Let's look at KDA. 345 to 401. So positive KDA by 73. Looks like Ph0s is down an additional unit. So I wonder if Ph0s went to Alliance. Maybe some friendly fire. Probably friendly fire. Pump of heavy catapults from Ph0s moving on this hill now. A lot of scythe coming forward. Some crazy problems from Vertex, who tries to fend off the scythe with his own. Seems to be working for now. Heavy cats now coming forward to challenge Vertex's heavy cats, and man, I think Ph0s might have done it. Trying to lay down those towers. Vertex 500 on stone, so enough to try some counter towers, but it's just really hard with that many heavy catapults on the board. Towers tend to go down pretty easy for massive heavy catapults. Heavy catapults for Ph0s now trying to just find bills, trying to find kills wherever they can, braining some bills on the wood line. Man, this is just a really good game again. These guys are so evenly matched. This is a real joy to watch. Do I have the score up there? I do. I think Ph0s has this one, NinjaJen says. I don't know, Jen. I mean, he's definitely moved forward more, but at what cost? Negative KDA at this point. Let's look at the timeline again, and man, he just lost a substantial portion of his population on this push. Vertex just won't be going down easy. What's the farming situation? Well, overall food, 58 for Vertex and 41 for Ph0s. We've spent a lot of time focused on Vertex's side of the map purely because Ph0s has kept pressure on. He's been pressuring Vertex this whole time, and the question is, was this a rope-a-dope from Vertex? Was he simply laying back and trying to capture all the kills? Or was he really, really under pressure? I think the answer is he was really under pressure. Ph0s just builds so quickly. Massive Vertex scythe now challenging this hill. Vertex electing to move back, though, deciding there's more value to be had moving down toward 6 o'clock. Ph0s was laying down towers, but Vertex is countering that with heavy cats at home. I think he has enough towers and heavy cats to deal with all of that. Ph0s with no bills in that vicinity, so it looks like he's abandoned that push. Meanwhile, the story again is this center hill, guys. Center hill, lots of conflict. Heavy cat versus heavy cat. Heavy horse archer, Ellie archer, or sorry, armored Ellie and scythe. Man, what a lot of damage. Let's check the ADA again. So 142 to negative 143, 500 kills for, 464 kills for Ph0s, 650 for Vertex. Lots of gold left, though. You know, if the conflict does happen to move to Ph0s' side of the map, you can just kind of lay up and focus on food and gold for a little bit and come back. So I feel like this game's going to go on for a little bit longer. Still, Vertex pushing forward, advantage of the hill, armored Ellies versus Scythe, Scythe moving forward to clean up heavy horse archers. Vertex is watching, he's moving his heavy horse archers away, reinforcing with more Scythe. And Ph0s should retreat here, he does. Regrouping, rebuilding, let's check timeline again. Wow. Yeah, that's the thing, Jen. Not a lot of stone to be had on this map. We go to just resources, it's all gold. They have used up all of their stone. Just no more to be had anywhere. So towers are a thing of the past here. This is where you start getting into, wow, Ph0s calling it again? I mean, he had a really open map. Amazing. Wow. I expected the game to go on a little bit longer. I mean, the population timeline was pretty even. I think Ph0s may be getting frustrated because he did not lose that game. But regardless, Vertex up 2-0. Jen, did you say whether this is a best of 5 or best of 7? because it's possible we only have one game left. The score is 2 for Vertex, 0 for Ph0s. By the way, my bracket is busted if Vertex wins this, because I called Ph0s to win. I mean, he builds up faster, he knows the game as well as, or better than Vertex. Vertex is just a really strong competitor. He really rope-a-doped Ph0s in that game. Yeah, I mean, Ph0s might have just, been getting fatigued too. That's the thing about these really strong veteran players, is their mental tenacity, their mental strength is just really high, and they can handle a lot more grueling conflicts than the average player. So Vertex may just be leaning on that, his veteran ability to weather long battles. And that's what both of these first 2 games have been. It's what you get with civs like Eggy and Palmy. Alright, so we have Shang versus Shang, 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Those are the bases. Ph0s at 9, Vertex at 3. Vertex moving Vils forward. I think he's going to try maybe a backdoor here. Vil over toward 7 o'clock and Vils over toward 10 o'clock. Yeah, he's going for the double squeeze. Backdoor and backdoor. But Ph0s, I think, seeing this? Yeah, he did. He probably house scanned. He saw it. Ph0s knows all the tricks. And as Ph0s is focusing, maybe... Oh no, that's not a tower. It's just a house. Ooh, boy. That could turn into something. If I had to predict, I would say Ph0s takes this game because it's Shang. It's a very fast-moving game. You can overwhelm your opponent quickly if you choose your units properly. And really, it's usually a cata spam followed by helis and towers. Neither player electing to pump out Heavy Horse Archer, which are lacking alchemy, and that's a good play. I never really liked Shang Heavy Horse Archer because they're missing their attack. Big battle in the center now. It's Kata on Kata. Ph0s putting down some siege workshops, so I imagine he's going to be pumping out helis, and yes he is. Nothing but helis. Let's check Vertex. So 68 pop to 110 for Ph0s. Ph0s out with the big population advantage here. He is laying down the towers now. He has more units on the board. Vertex did spend some time and resources on both of these back doors. Maybe they'll get the value he's looking for, but in the meantime, Ph0s is into his eco, and that's the thing about Shang games, is they can get over so quickly, same as Yam. If you get units in your eco, they do so much damage, these Kata do. And Vertex now massing up units at home. Ph0s with a fair amount of units in Vertex's eco, and this is the other thing. Vertex actually has to push out to the wings if he wants to get farming going. He spawned in a very crowded area. Kind of the same for Ph0s, but... So, gold is always the first issue. The first resource shortage you run into with these games, Yam and Shang alike. Ph0s with just so much military, challenging the 2 o'clock position for Vertex, getting in, hitting Vils, hitting houses, towers, helis, pushing forward. I think this game's over, folks. I'm going to say I called it too. This is one of those games that advantage a player like Ph0s. He's just a blitzkrieg type of player. Quick, big eco, lots of military units. There's not a lot of crafty cat and mouse to be done with the Shang game. It's just so devastating. And Vertex's problem will be, just doesn't have any units on food. Ph0s now with 8 on food, only 8 on gold though too. Vertex with a lot of bills on gold, but he just doesn't have the food to back it up. And Ph0s is still pushing forward, now with some catapults, standard catapults. Cats nonetheless in the game, shutting down Vertex's military buildings. It's getting the value here that he hoped. No, Ph0s with towers on this backdoor, and but Vertex into Ph0s's economy with enough units to do damage. The question is, will Ph0s see it in time? Seems to be sending a couple of units that way. Are these? They're scouts. Must have been a misplay. Ph0s with 1 unit left in Vertex's eco. Vertex cleaning that up. Sending military now is Ph0s to the 2 o'clock and the 4 o'clock position. He is squeezing Vertex. Does Vertex have enough units outside to get his eco numbers up? I just don't think so. Let's check the timeline. Timeline solidly in Ph0s's favor. Eco 78 to 88. So Vertex with more vills now. Just so many on gold. What's he gonna do with it though? Just doesn't have any siege out, and I don't think it would do much good at this point anyway. I think Vertex will be forced to call it here shortly. And you know, the only bright spot about that, guys, is it means we're not watching these two fantastic players. We want to see more. We want to see more. Towers for Vertex, creating enough of a choke point and kind of a death circle here. Ph0s will be forced to back up and regroup. Now moving all of his army Ph0s to 2 o'clock and trying to push into Vertex's eco that way. Will it work? I don't know, a lot of units on the board. A lot of units. Catapults, hitting vills. Vertex putting down towers. He does have stone, so he's got plenty of resources to keep that up if he wants to, but man, this is getting dicey. It's getting difficult. Let's check timeline, and timeline, wow, drastically in Ph0s's favor at this point. I think he's got this game. I think he's pissed. I think he's pissed and he wants revenge. Yeah, Jen, absolutely. We don't need a 3-0 sweep between two great players like this. Vertex putting down farms now outside. Ph0s hasn't seen it. We'll see if he makes any progress that way. Can he grow this back? Can he grow this deficit back? I don't know, 60 to 170. Ph0s growing rapidly now. Ph0s having effectively claimed Vertex's original eco. Vertex forced to move out, and Ph0s hasn't seen him yet. This is working for now. 51 pop to 161 pop. Going back here, I just don't think we need to see any more over here. This is the conflict zone now. Ph0s now seeing it. Oh man, devastation for Vertex, who calls it. Calls it with a population of 148 to 166. Let's check KDAs here. 308 to 338. So you see, not a huge difference. It's just that a lot of the kills for Vertex were military, and a lot of the kills for Ph0s were Vertex vills. In the end, this is the trajectory of the timeline, which moved very rapidly in Ph0s's favor from the beginning. A couple of plateaus, Vertex was able to hold it here and there, but alright guys, we are moving on to Game 4 now. Game 4, 1 game for Ph0s, 2 games for Vertex. Let's get into it. Roarin and Woo. Wow. We're gonna run into a bus. Whoever wins this series is not getting a vacation. Getting a one-way trip to, I don't know, a horror house, really. Alright, we have Karth now. Karth, interesting civ. It's always interesting to see the first military unit coming out for Karth, because I mean, there are no good options. No really good options. Scent countered by Heli and Tower. Go that way. Armored Ellie, kind of the same story. But Archer Ellie, looks like Vertex is going that route, which is actually pretty good. The only place they run into problems is Towers, but if you get a front of Archer Ellie, backed by, or with Armored Ellies or Scents in front, that's pretty good. Looks like both Ph0s and Vertex going with the Armored Ellie play because, or I'm sorry, the Archer Ellie play, because you really just can't afford to be caught out. You can't make a ton of Heli, which are very expensive, only to find that you're facing a front of Archer Ellie. But it's not Archer Ellie. Wow, Vertex with Horse Archer, just Horse Archer, and he will be facing Ph0s's Archer Ellies. I'm not sure Vertex knows the meta to this. They really are. You know, this is a common Legends play the Legend clan. They're a big fan of horse archers early, but the problem is these are not heavy horse archers. They're standard horse archers. And they're just not going to stand up long term. Vertex has expended a lot of resources on this play, too. Boy, I don't know. Vertex towers backed by Horse Archer, countered by Ph0s Archer Helis, and some Helis now, and some towers of his own. Ph0s has clamped off this side of the map. There will be no passing through for Vertex. The conflict must happen here. It either needs to expand down to the west side of the map, or the east side of the map, sorry, toward 3 and 4 o'clock, or Vertex needs to figure out a way to burst through. But Heli versus towers and Archer Heli is just not a good play. They just don't last. A lot of damage, but they're very fragile. So Ph0s seemingly just going with Archer Helis and Helis for now, backed by towers. Ph0s getting into Vertex's stone villagers now. We'll shut that down, and that's important because stone's really important card. Vertex being surrounded again. Yeah. See, this is just Ph0s, man. He's so fast. He's so fast and efficient, and if you notice, you very rarely see idols from Ph0s. And if you do, it's not substantial. 89 to 111 pop. Let's check KDAs here. So Vertex is behind in KDAs at this point, probably because we've got armored Ellie, or Archer Ellie, sorry, and towers. We have a little trouble with those two different units. Vertex moving some Horse Archer around to counter these Helis coming out for Ph0s, but towers right in front of them, so they're just not a durable unit. Not very useful in this situation, but he's still producing them. Now Ph0s has managed to get some Archer Helis into Vertex's eco, but they won't last long because Vertex has seen it and he's put down towers. Vertex committing a lot of units now. Nope, deciding I don't really need them, I'm good. He's pushing out now. Pushing out against this front of Helis and Archer Helis. This is the problem I was describing earlier, where if you get armored Helis or Sense versus Helis and Archer Helis, it's just over. They're not going to last. No, Vertex needs a new strategy, but Ph0s is growing at this point, and I don't think he can really afford to switch. Precious little gold, precious little food, not much wood, so that means he can't really lay down the buildings he would like to. A lot on stone, though. He's planning to try to push forward with stone, and that could work, because at this point, Ph0s doesn't have any melee units out. Right? I'm not seeing any armored Ellies, well, none to speak of anyway, just a few, nor Sense. So if Vertex can afford to move some vills off of gathering resources and lay down some towers, he can shut this front down, but he really needs to do it now, because Ph0s, as Albertoa has so accurately described, Ph0s has surrounded Vertex. Vertex is being pushed back now toward his eco. This is painful. Not enough towers, and not enough counter units. Ph0s, though, probably deciding he can afford to buy his time. Let's look at timeline. Timeline in Ph0s's favor, so yeah, probably wise to back up and reset. Doesn't need to really charge that hill right now. Does give Vertex time to regroup and figure out his next unit play, though. Vertex creating some disturbances now at the middle of the map for Ph0s. Ph0s sees it, moves Helis forward. It's going to be largely the same story, but they're being blocked by the 4-tier hill, and they just can't get the shots off. This is problematic. I think in the end, no. Wow. So Vertex will win this conflict. Ph0s sees it, retreats into his tower forest, and Vertex now forced to retreat. And lots of exciting stuff happening now. Vertex seems to be getting his momentum back, and he is pushing forward. He has that stone available. 7 on stone, 1,800, so that's a lot of towers. That's 6 or 7 towers he can use now. Towers very effective against Helis and Archer Helis, so Vertex may be able to claim this section of the map. Meanwhile, more conflict happening on this 4-tier hill, right around mid-map. Ph0s having trouble getting his heli shots over those 4 tiers, though, leaving Vertex kind of free to claim this ground for himself. Ph0s electing to retreat his helis back to this Tower Forest. Boy, it's getting hairy. This is something. One thing's for sure, Vertex is not getting through this blockade at 10 o'clock anytime soon, so Ph0s can pretty much focus on the middle of the map, and it seems like we've had a sweep, or a change of momentum now. All Ph0s has to work with right now are towers and helis. Those are his only units, and if Vertex takes this hill, this is going to be trouble. Yeah, this could be a lot of trouble. So, what's happening here with food? I think what happened is Ph0s got starved out on food. He just didn't have enough farming eco to keep up the Archer LE pump, and that created this opportunity for Vertex to push forward and claim this middle of the map. Vertex now with helis on the hill. Helis versus towers, not a great matchup unless helis have the hill, and they do. Man, I think this section of the map is going to go for Vertex. Vertex now with just 3 vills on stone. He has enough stone to put down a couple more towers, but it seems to be focused pretty intently on eco. He has spread his eco across the map now. He has a lot of resources coming in. 51 on food for him, 36 on food for Ph0s. Ph0s with 30 on gold right now, though. That's a big deal. 25 on gold for Vertex. Let's look at the timeline, and it's pretty much dead even. You see this advantage, the strategic advantage or tactical advantage that Ph0s built for himself, is kind of evaporated. He elected not to charge up this hill. Probably didn't have the numbers for it, but that gave Vertex the opportunity he needed to really regroup. And Ph0s, once again, though, has cleared up this section of the map. Vertex did not win it. Not only did he not win it, but he's losing some forest and he's losing some vills. It's still going to prove challenging, though. Towers on the hill. Towers on the hill backed by armored Ellie's. Ph0s now pumping out some stone throwers to contend with this mass of towers. And you know, you generally don't produce a weak unit like that, but with Carth, you don't have a choice. And they can do damage. Stone throwers versus archer Ellie's are good counter, and stone throwers versus towers. We have towers with a range of 10, but stone throwers with a range of 12. So stone throwers also effective versus helis. Wow. Wow, man, this is a great game. Vertex with a pretty good pump coming forward to try to maintain this hill. And I don't know. Ph0s has found this stone thrower combination now as an effective counter, and he's pushing forward with it. And Vertex isn't really able to shut him down because he's got helis and armor, or Ellie archers. So stone throwers and helis now. The story is that what will do it finally for Ph0s. He's been trying to claim this hill pretty much all game. I don't know. 3 towers, 5, 6 helis. Armored or Ellie archers coming out. I'm stumbling over calling that unit. Vertex now creating some disturbances for the southern tip of Ph0s's eco, sending forward bills now, trying to pinch Ph0s in. I guess he's saying, look, if you're going to pressure me, I'm going to pressure you. And Ph0s moving most of his army, responding to it, moving most of his army south to try to retake this hill, which he has lost for the moment. And we've got towers versus stone throwers. I don't know, that's a lot of stone throwers. I think they're going to take those towers down. Yeah, they'll take the towers down. In the meantime, though, Vertex using that diversion to bolster his numbers on his eco hill, we'll call it. And he's trying to push forward, but he should probably just mass up because, man, look at this. Look at this pump of stone throwers. How many does he have in queue? Nothing but stone throwers in queue for Ph0s, who's got 73 on wood and 36 on gold, and he's just going for broke, man. And it's a good play. Countering helis and towers and archer helis. Why not, right? Ph0s, in the meantime, while he's battling so ferociously for this hill. No! He calls it? What happened? Does he think he's lost it? Oof. Oof. I don't know, guys. That's the thing about specking. You just see so much more than the players do. I don't think he had to call that. Vertex was getting the timeline, but still, really? I don't know, and I do agree with you. Tonight, I think he had game 2 as well. I don't know. I think this is just an example of the mental toughness of a veteran player like Vertex, who's been through so many wars, and they just seem to be able to hang in and respond and counter, reposition. Boy, congratulations to Vertex. I don't know that we saw our best Foz here. I expected him to rip through the brackets, but I think just getting frustrated. I think that's the story. I think he could have had this game. Either way, congratulations to Foz for making it through several rounds and all of the wars that he succeeded in. Congratulations to Vertex, who will now be moving on to the next round, round 3. And Vertex will be up against, as
Hello,
Jen said,
motherfucker.
Roaring Woo. So get ready for just a ferocious battle between those two. Roran is a very tough competitor, and Vertex will need to be on his game, his very, very best for that matchup. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. We end this round 2 matchup between Ph0sphorus, aka Sagittarius, and Vertex, with a final score of 3 games for Vertex, 2 games for Foz. I think we're going to stick around and maybe just chat a little bit, analyze the game. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any playing. I'm rather tired. But, all right, let's check final numbers here. Once again, looking at timeline, we see Vertex gradually grabbing the advantage. Had several hills that he took great advantage of. 221 bills for Vertex in that game was the high. A little bit more gold collected. That was going to become the problem for both players eventually, was the conflict over those gold mines. Karth very, very dependent on gold. KDAs, we have positive 20 for Vertex, so it was a really, really close matchup. It was just getting grueling, is what it came down to. Good job, Foz. I think you bailed early on a couple games. We're all saying that, but we're also talking about how grueling the games were, and at a certain point, it just gets very difficult to manage. We see a lot more as spectators, and we all think that you had a better position on some of those games than maybe you thought you did. But definitely watch it back and see what you think. Great job, bud. And again, congratulations to Vertex moving forward into round 3 of this Wololo Ho 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 DM tourney. Vertex will be facing Roran Woo.